I'm Rebecca Edens, Executive Director of the Andrew Low House Museum. Located on Lafayette Square in the heart of Savannah's National Historic Landmark District, the museum welcomes about 20,000 visitors each year from all around the world. The Georgia State Society bought this beautiful home from Juliette Gordon Lowe's family shortly after her passing in 1928. Juliette married William Lowe, Andrew Lowe's son, and went on to become the inspiring founder of the Girl Scouts. While many recognize Juliette as a colonial dame, fewer know that her mother, Nellie Gordon, was the first president of the Georgia Society. This special connection adds to the rich history of the Andrew Low House. The house served as the Society's headquarters and was used for meetings, events, social gatherings, and even theatrical plays. At the end of 2018, another home, Abercorn House, was purchased and became the new headquarters. In 1966, it was listed on the National Register of Historic Places, and that same year it gained significance as a contributing property of Savannah's landmark district. Today, the house stands as a finely preserved example of pre-Civil War architecture. The furnishings represent a blend of family pieces and thoughtfully collected Georgia and Savannah objects. We strive to tell the complex and fascinating stories of the individuals who lived and labored in the home between 1848 and 1927. It's our pleasure to take you on this tour today. Frank Morrow, one of our historical interpreters, and Chris Sergi, our Education and Program Manager, will be your guides. I hope you enjoy learning about our site today.
Welcome to the Andrew Low House Museum. I'm Frank Morrow, a historical interpreter at this grand 19th century home. We're in the central entrance hall, where the doorways are framed by pilasters and cornices. Above us, original plasterwork on the ceiling of this grand entrance hall, and trim that echoes the exterior architectural heritage of this building. The base molding in this area is faux finished to replicate marble. The doors are faux grained to resemble mahogany. Those doors have the original silver-plated hardware as designated by architect John Norris. Rounding out this special part of the home, pier tables, a tall mahogany case clock, an 1820s sofa, and a gilt convex mirror. A dramatic first impression indeed. Located to the right of the entrance hall, the double parlor extends the full depth of the house from front to back. Traditionally, adjoining parlors were separated by sliding mahogany doors, creating a formal front parlor used for entertaining. These doors could be fully opened to expand the space as needed. The back parlor served primarily as a private family area. The textiles in these rooms are all historically accurate, and the Brussels carpet, drapery fabrics, and upholstery were all selected by Edward Vason Jones. One of the notable features of the double parlor is the pair of matching crystal chandeliers. Though not original to the house, they were sourced from another nearby residence designed by John Norris, and are believed to reflect the style he would have originally intended. Highlights in the front parlor include a New York-made pier glass mirror gifted to Juliette and William Lowe by her parents on their wedding day, and a portrait of a young Andrew Lowe. Another portrait of Andrew's second wife, Mary, rests on an easel beside a rare vertical piano made by John Broadwood and Sons in England. The back parlor features several items from the family: intaglios on a tray, a Parian-ware sculpture of two greyhounds, playing cards, and boxes suggest a lively family life centered on beauty and play. The standout piece in the back parlor is the breakfront secretary made by Joseph Barry in 1810. This large cabinet with glass doors, closed cabinetry, and a fall front desk was originally owned by Robert Mackey, Mary Lowe's maternal grandfather.
This is a very special piece. It belonged to Mary Cooper Stiles' grandfather, Joseph Stiles. It was in their family home. It dates 1830s, and it's a beautiful mahogany fire screen. Fire screen itself was a raw silk. It deteriorated over time, and we have replaced it with a beautiful needlepoint, and the needlepoint is done after a portrait of Andrew Lowe's two dogs. They love their family pets. We have many photographs and very formal portraits of their family dogs. Andrew Lowe was taxed on two dogs in 1855, $5, because they were imported from Europe.
Above one of the 9 black marble fireplaces in the house hangs a large, finely rendered portrait of Mary Lowe, closely resembling the less detailed version displayed in the front parlor. It's believed that the portrait there may have served as a preliminary sketch for this more refined oil painting. The room that Juliette referred to as the smoking room has been interpreted as a library and may have been used by Andrew Lowe as an office. A Gothic Revival glass-fronted bookcase sits on the north wall, and a secretary sits in between the front windows. The wood pelmets and trim valances, unmatched chairs, and a canterbury used for holding newspapers and music lend to a far more masculine setting than the parlors. Several family portraits are housed in this room. 2 small frames hold watercolors of Mary as a young woman, thought to have been painted by her mother, Eliza, and a professionally rendered image of Sarah with daughter Amy. An early photograph of Andrew Lowe with daughters Amy and Hattie rests on a table in front of the south-facing window. A very fine oil painting of William Mackey Lowe, Willie, hangs above the marble fireplace. Between the library and the dining room lies the butler's pantry. In this oddly shaped space, one can see the efficient, if rather dangerous, curved stair that leads from the basement kitchen to the second floor.
And right now, this space we're in, this is a butler's pantry. In this area, this would be used as storage space for service pieces, silver, porcelain, and china. And you also notice this very steep staircase. This would be easy access from the kitchen to the dining area, bringing up dishes, and then also servants headed up to the bedchambers above, carrying firewood, coal, clean linens to the bedrooms above. Also, you notice in this space, this would be for storage use, but you notice how it is very ornate. The top of the doors, this is hand-carved wood. You see the lotus and the campus leaf, and that echoes throughout the home.
This southwestern-facing room is dominated by a large family piece, the expandable dining table once owned by Robert Mackey. The New York-made chairs are part of a 24-piece set acquired by the Society. The table is laden with silver, crystal, and gold, and yellow china attributed to the makers Dil El Gerhard. Other pieces from this service are held in the Metropolitan Museum of Art. Adjacent to the table is a large classically styled sideboard decorated with brass ormolu details and mahogany veneers. On a pier table under the mirror are several pieces of red Bohemian glass purchased by Mary Lowe's parents in 1849. These were a part of a larger set of entertaining ware purchased by William Stiles when he was a diplomat in Austria. The etagere holds several crystal and silver service items and sits adjacent to a large wooden wine cooler.
This is a lovely space. It is a little bit different from the rest of the home. You'll notice the hand-molded plaster in this space is more formal. The large frieze is a honeysuckle and the small is a pomegranate. You have the medallion over not a chandelier but a gasolier.
This is an example of one of the early gas fixtures would look like. This house was one of the first houses in the city to be piped for gas. Andrew Lowe was one of the first presidents of the gas company here in Savannah, so it made a wonderful commercial for the rest of the city. The dining room table in this space is a family piece. It belonged to Robert Mackey. And then the porcelain on this table, it was made in Paris for the American market, early 19th century. You'll see the flag with the 13 stars, and the rims represent art, war, and commerce. The silver on this table, you have two different types of silver. You have a coin silver, and then you also have a sterling silver. It is Sheffield, and most of this hand hammered from the inside out. The pern on the table, it is coin silver, and all the crystal bowls are complete to the set. They're Waterford crystal. You also have a portrait of Jessie Lowe. She was the youngest child of Andrew and Mary Lowe. She was born in 1862. This is a beautiful portrait done by Charles Alexander Smith in 1895. Also in this room, we have one of the family's prize ships. It is a beautiful landscape. This is of the James Oglethorpe. It's done off the White Cliffs of Dover, 1801, by Robert Salmon. In the dining room, we are right above the kitchen. So we are on a raised basement. We have a 4-foot dry moat. It goes all the way around this property, and we're sitting up, and it's raised for lighting and ventilation. So we're above the kitchen right now. Also downstairs would be an English nursery for children, a children's dining room, servants' quarters, and a laundry space. In the courtyard, it would be a working courtyard. There'd be a small herb garden by the kitchen. There would be a private well in the courtyard, a cesspool, 2 privies would also be in the courtyard, and then the carriage house as well. This house was run, Andrew Lowe ran the household with enslaved and freed people of color. And the couple that was here the longest, Tom and Mosiana Millage, were very fortunate to have an image of the couple. And in this image, it tells its own story. They're holding books, they were educated. Tom helped General Sherman organize 40 Acres and a Mule speech here in Savannah. He also did several speeches at the Second African Baptist Church explaining emancipation, so he's trying to help with the transition. Mosiana was 20 years younger. She was a cook for William and Juliette, and when Tom passes away, she would travel with the couple to Europe, and she's credited with introducing Southern cooking to Europe. She's cited in many cookbooks of the day and worked very closely with the top chef in London, Rosa Lewis. And this couple, their 4 children, were born and raised on this property. The family also had 2 freed ladies of color, Celia Anderson and Grace Taylor. They were a housekeeper and a cook.
Moving back into the entrance hall, a staircase leads to a wide central hallway with 6 doors. 5 bedrooms, a bathing room, and passageway lead off of the main landing. A large clock sits on the east wall and is adjacent to a Sheraton-style settee. A gilt mirror hangs above a drop-leaf table opposite. The upstairs rooms have been decorated as if waiting for the Lowes to arrive during the warm weather. The first bedroom to the left has been named the Robert E. Lee bedroom after the Southern general who was a friend of the Mackey and Lowe families. The room features a military blue and yellow gold color palette. Robert E. Lee wrote to his wife in 1870, "Yesterday, several gentlemen from Savannah met the train in which we came from Augusta. General Lawton, Mr. Andrew Lowe, Mr. Hodgson, etc. I found they had arranged amongst themselves about my sojourn, so I yielded at once, and after depositing Agnes at General Lawton's, I came off to Mr. Lowe's, where I am now domiciled. His house is partly dismantled, and he's keeping house alone, so I have a very quiet time." The daily newspaper in town announced Tuesday, April 5, 1870, that, "Yesterday morning it was rumored that our distinguished guest, General Robert E. Lee would receive visitors from 12 p.m. to 3 o'clock p.m. at the residence of Andrew Lowe, Esquire, on Lafayette Square, corner of Abercorn and Charlton Street. As soon as the fact was known, a large number of ladies and gentlemen, among the latter nearly all of our prominent citizens and several ex-officers of the Federal Army, who have made Savannah their home. This room has been interpreted as a children's nursery with a charming suite of painted furniture from Macon, Georgia. The bed is surrounded by charming toys and dolls, a smaller bed, and a desk. A quaint print wallpaper wraps around the room.
We're in the nursery. This is always a favorite room with visitors. It is a beautiful space. It is made just for children, miniature windows and fireplaces. Interpreting this room, you'll notice our doll collection and our toys. They all have a small tie to Savannah or Georgia. The furniture, the children's furniture in this nursery is from Macon, Georgia. And we have a lovely letter from Thackeray when he stays here as a guest. He mentions Mary Cooper Stiles and their oldest daughter, Katie, playing in this room.
The bedroom, named after a guest of Andrew Lowe, writer William Makepeace Thackeray, features the rosewood desk that he used for correspondence on his visits to Savannah. The stunning four-poster bed was originally a wedding gift to Robert and Eliza Mackey. Exquisitely carved, this bed was made in Jamaica of mahogany and features a sunburst-style fabric canopy. In February of 1856, Thackeray wrote about the house, saying, "I write from the most comfortable quarters I have ever had in the United States. I had a famous good dinner, breakfast, etc., and leisure all the morning to think and sleep and read as I like. The only place in the States where I can get these comforts, all free, gratis, is the home of my friend, Andrew Lowe." Thackeray described Savannah. It is a tranquil old city, wide-streeted, tree-planted, with a few cows and carriages toiling through the sandy road, a red river with a tranquil little fleet of merchantmen taking in cargo. This room was extensively researched to showcase the rare luxury afforded to the Lowes of running water in a space dedicated to bathing. A cabinet encloses the copper tub and chamber pot seat, which are installed across from a shaving mirror and dresser. Originally, a second door existed for access to the front bedroom, a true ensuite bath. Architect John Norris constructed a sophisticated plumbing system which transferred water throughout the property and provided a fresh source to the bathing room, butler's pantry, and probably the kitchen. The blue bedroom on the second floor has been named the Stiles Bedroom. Eliza Mackey Stiles was Mary Lowe's mother. She lived in the house from 1863 to 1866 to care for her grandchildren during the Civil War after her daughter died from complications of pregnancy. In 1864, Eliza writes her husband, William Henry Stiles, "I am so tired I can only say a word, my dear William, to tell you I am all day from 7 to 7 at the committee room, feeding and cooking for the returned prisoners. We fed 500 tonight, and about that number throughout the day. I never saw such grateful and submissive people. Hospitals are everywhere, and all the ladies are nursing. It is very exciting work, and I'm head of the feeding committee. All well here, and send love. Yours ever, E. This room holds a family crib which sits at the end of the canopy bed. Several charming family portraits are arranged on the east wall, including a drawing by Katie Lowe, the eldest daughter of Andrew and Mary. The bright principal bedroom of the house was used by Andrew and Mary Lowe and later Juliette. The early 19th century bed is lightly draped with cotton voile, and together with the sheer window treatments create a feminine aspect to the room. A work table with a ladies' travel set, a tea service, and a kettle near the fireplace further emphasize the presence of a lady in this space.
We're in the primary bedroom of the house. This house has the best lighting and best view. This was Andrew and Mary's bedroom. And then years later, when William and Juliette married December 21st, 1886, and they moved into the home as newlyweds, they chose the Stiles Bedroom, but Juliette always loved the lighting in this room. She used this as an art room. And then years later, after William had passed away and she signs a charter for the Girl Scouts, March 12, 1912, she moved back into the house permanently and she chose this as her bedroom. This is also the bedroom she passes away in 1927. We do have a piece of Juliette's artwork. She was a wonderful artist in many different mediums. Her brother actually used to tease her and say if she would just concentrate on one medium, she'd be a genius, but she decided to do many different mediums. We have a sculpture that she did. It is a bronze sculpture. It's a Lady of the Fountain. It used to be atop a fountain that she designed in Gordonston Park in her honor. In the early days of the Girl Scouts, it's hard to imagine, but this beautiful home was Girl Scout Central. Girl Scouts would have been in the garden, in the courtyard, also in the lot that Juliette owned across the way. They would have done flag ceremonies and athletics. And then our carriage house became one of the Girl Scouts' first national headquarters. And Juliette passes away in this room. In 1927, she willed that building to the Girl Scouts, and it is owned by them today.
We hope that you enjoyed this tour today and that you will visit the Andrew Lowe House Museum in person soon.